So let's see how I fare against Shallow Blue. 2.00 this time. I could go for the Smith-Morra gambit, actually, but let's just see what he got here. I don't want him to go d5, so I'm just playing this kind of normal. Bishop e3, bishop f3. I think I'm gonna go with bishop e3, bishop f3, covering d5 at least a bit. He can still go d5, and he probably should. I mean, e5 is also a move, kind of, but if you can go d5 in the Sicilian, you should probably. But I'm not sure if he can. I mean, he gets this knight on e4. I won't take it with the bishop, but okay, he goes here. Knight b3 covers the c5 square, so the bishop can't go there. Bishop b4 check doesn't do anything. I have c3 in that case. I'm controlling this square with the bishop now. I think e5 was kind of a positional mistake. In that case, oh, a4. He's really putting the brakes. I can go bishop e3, but that would result in a4, knight c5, b3, stuff along those lines. I can also stop the threat of a4 by playing a4 myself. Also, I get this b4 square, this b5 square, so let's just do it. It's kind of weird. He pushed a6, e6, and then went for e5, a5. I mean, all those moves were directed against this knight, but okay, he wants to go to c5, so bishop e3 covers against this. I'm not declaring this knight quite yet, because if knight b3, I have knight b4, I have c3, and c5 is now adequately covered. If he ever jumps there anyway, for example after d6, I'm probably just gonna grab it. I'm not so sure if I'm grabbing it. Let's just continue with knight c3. Now he goes knight b4, yes. Yeah. c3. Go e5, pretty much. Probably not. I have knight d5 at some point. So let's see, if it's his turn and he goes d5 takes, knight takes, knight takes, knight takes, bishop takes, so he can't go d5 quite yet. On a castle. Bishop e7 is it's a pretty normal move. Knight d5, pawn d5, and e5 is a bit annoying. How to make something with that queen? Knight b4, d5, pawn here. I mean, knight b5, you can never get rid of this knight anytime soon. But knight b5 is in control of the d5 square, and he can maybe push to the d5. Although I can still take it with the pawn. Let's see, knight f takes. Hits the bishop. But knight b4 is kind of the only really sensible move in that position. I mean, I cannot really get rid of that knight that easily. But what are his plans? Is this knight really that annoying? He has this d-pawn. And he has this weak square over there. But how to get to this? And I can also reroute that knight. Actually, knight Knight d2 to c4 looks quite interesting, but if I go knight d2, I'm also again losing control of the d5 square. So maybe just push it. Takes, knight f takes. But then knight c4 hits the knight. He goes out of the way with taking the bishop. Yes, because I'm also threatening that one. So I cannot start with queen d3 because the knight is covering that. And if I go to queen d2, I'm... Is this rook doing something on the a file? This knight is covering both pawns on the d5 square. So you can probably use that rook. I can also reuse the f rook. I think queen d2 is pretty normal in that position. Although my knight would also be pretty on that square, but should have gone h6 because knight b4 is again pretty annoying. Well, I'm just gonna grab it and go f3, strengthen the center. F3 and rook d1. Just prevent him from going to d5 anyway. Bishop e6. Can also go h6, but I want to cover the pawn as well, so this knight is more free to roll. And also now my bishop has a square on f2. I can go queen f2 now as well, because I vacated that square, going bishop there. He has the bishop pair. He doesn't really want to take that knight, right? I mean, I get the c file. d5, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, queen takes. This is bad for me. So I'm using the f rook to go to that square. And then I go queen f2, knight c4. Well, if I go queen there in any lines, he can maybe go d5. Although bishop b6, queen d6, knight b4. Okay, I'm gonna go queen f2 now. With two ideas in mind. One of them is bishop b6 and the other one is knight to c5 to get his light squared bishop. So let's see. Queen f2 d5. Queen f2 d5. Pawn d5. I'm actually not really interested in that pawn. I can go bishop b6. Queen d7. Knight takes, and c4. He has no way of attacking my queen, so he cannot really execute the move d5, and he cannot really prevent me from moving bishop b6 or knight c5. He goes there, out of the pin and out of the way. And that's something. Cannot. Yeah, well, this is still covered. Really want to get rid of that knight. What about knight b4 now? d5, c3, d4. That's not what the doctor ordered? I cannot go knight b5 because the pawn is hit. d5 now. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Okay, I will go there. Just covering the pawn, trying to go knight b4. But first I will probably go to b6. And then knight b4, c3. Okay, he's d5 again. And he's hitting the a pawn a bit. He's not really threatening to grab this. So knight b4, knight b5, d5, pawn d5, knight t5 hits the bishop. Don't really enjoy that one as well. But he might go d5, he might go d5 anyway. So knight b4, d5, c3. Knight on that square. And this knight is so terribly annoying. I don't really have that clear plan here. I mean, this knight is preventing me from jumping to d5 once and foremost. I can go after the a pawn, bishop b6, threatening knight takes pawn, and if he goes bishop takes, I have pawn takes and both rooks files are open. Yeah, I think bishop b6 might be a move. d5, knight takes, pawn hits the queen. And how else is he covering that? He has to give up the bishop if he wants to cover it. But now this knight is free to roll and he cannot really go d5 anymore because I just grab it. I might as well jump to d5 whatever he does. Not if bishop g5. That's kind of a good move. But I still have knight here. If he takes the rook, I go knight there. He has queen takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. He gets two rooks for it. Gets two rooks for it, but knight d5 ultimately looks like the way to go anyway. Wait, knight d5, bishop takes. He's gonna go queen takes. Queen takes, rook takes, bishop takes, hitting b2. Well, b2 is covered. Yeah, bishop g5 is sad, but I get this d5. Still, this knight on b4 remains. I'm still gonna go knight d5. I'm expecting queen takes c1 now. Knight to this square over there. Rook takes queen, knight takes queen. Hits the other rook. And I cannot grab it. Knight here goes after the bishop. And if bishop takes knight, I have again this fork. It doesn't really change the picture much, I guess. I think it's even a slight inaccuracy of his part. I mean, he has not those two pieces around here, but he's not really threatening anything, so I'm just gonna go there. Knight takes rook. I'm gonna grab the queen now. Also hits the knight. Threatens knight e7. That was basically his idea, but I'm not so sure if that's so great. I can go after the knight again with queen d king f2, but what about queen c2 then? Knight e3. Knight to the e3 hits the queen, defends the rook. He can take on c2, hitting the bishop, so I'm not sure if I should do that. And he's covering that square, so I don't have rook here. That's kind of annoying. That's kind of annoying. Those horses are pretty... As long as you have horses, you don't really resign. I might as well just go there, hitting the knight that way, and now go here, hitting the knight again. Knight f5, knight takes is fine for me. Well, fine. I don't think it's fine for me anymore. Rook here. Rook here actually looks pretty well. Rook here. What's the trick? The queen is covering it. Knight g3 is nothing. Knight f4 takes the queen. So yeah, but now I'm grabbing the knight. Probably even with the king. Rook takes knight also looks interesting. Rook takes knight. Or king takes knight. I'm not sure, but something tells me that I should go king takes knight to be able to do something on the king side anyway. So I'm gonna go king takes f3. Very well. Hits the queen. Queen g4. As an idea. Still keeping an eye on this f3 square, and also queen d6 and some lines might be pretty useful. I have a beautiful knight on d5. I have 2 pieces versus a rook. That should be great. My king is on e2. That's not that great. The a pawn is also hanging, so he's not completely lost quite yet. But positionally speaking, he's pretty busted. Queen g4, but I only have 8 minutes 4 seconds left on the clock, and he's gonna grab the a pawn. Yes. So I have 5, he has 7. Queen here, check. Ha. Or knight here, check. I mean, h4 is also something. Queen c2. He's never getting rid of those pieces. At least he's never getting rid of the knight. Bishop e3 actually threatens a fork. And I can go to h6, then he's gonna go queen b4 check, but it's just a check. I don't have to fear that. So knight here can come. Knight e7, queen e6, bishop h6. Loads of ideas here. Okay, he goes out of the way. First of all, cannot go rook there because that's not what the doctor ordered. If I go knight here, he's gonna go queen b5 check. I can take it away from him, queen b5, so knight here, so he hasn't got queen b5. He's gonna go rook here, and then I go knight e6, hits the rook, and he has to go there to cover against the mate. Or he can also go g5, but then I'm just gladly sacrificing the bishop. That's not working because queen c4 picks up the knight. I should go out of this diagonal with 6 minutes 45 remaining. king takes was an idea, but I don't think it was a great one. Go out of the check and he gets the c-file. No, I can't go there, unfortunately. I want to get rid of the queen on a4 because it covers the c2 square. He gets the c-file anyway. Yeah, let's go king f2. I mean, 5 minutes 39 remaining isn't much. So let's see, I think he's gonna go rook, probably not rook f to c1. Wow, f5. That's a pretty bold move. What is if I just grab it? He can exchange queens, but I get a pawn for it. If I move back, he takes basically everything. If I go here, he takes there. Yeah, but I have to do something about it because my queen is under attack. Queen f5. There's some crazy counterattack. Like knight b6? No. Actually, he cannot go to the c-file. But he's grabbing that one. But still knight here then. Forks the pieces. And he doesn't have a check. He can grab that, but then I grab the queen, so he has to move the queen. So where is this queen best? Probably on h5 because it... I'm not sure I cannot grab back anyway. And you can also close the position, attack the bishop, but then I go bishop here and... Yeah, f5 is a good move. Pawn takes, queen takes. I think I should just go for the endgame. Being down a pawn, but... Yeah, not g6. No, then f6. I have 5 pawns, he has 6, but I have 2 pieces against the rook. That should probably tell in the long run. King g3 now, going out of the way. Or just getting to the c-file with the rook. Probably getting to the c-file, although the rook c6. Rook c6 is again pretty annoying, but rook takes. Three minutes. I don't want to go rook c6. I'm gonna go king g3. Going out of this pin. Still have my beautiful knight on d5, which can jump pretty much wherever I want to. Rook c6 might be something, yes, indeed. Pushing the pawn is not really something. Everything is covered, so I'm just going to the f-file. Want to play g4, g6 maybe, or g4, f6, create this passer. He also wants to create something, so who is gonna be first? Me on the king side or him on the queen side? f6 is the idea. Pretty much. Can also react to that what he's doing on the queen side by playing b4, but I don't think b4 is such a great move. So let's just go f6. f7, right? f7, he has to stop it. Knight here, rook there. g6, so starting with g6. If he takes knight here, attacks the rook. If he takes the knight, he's... I check him over there, win that rook. So g6. Okay, he goes there. That's fine. Knight here anyway. But what's the big plan after queen rook c7 to reroute this knight? My bishop is covering c1. That's good. I want to get rid of this rook over there. Activating the king or going h4, h5. Activating the king might be right. I really want to go... I really want to go knight here, but I don't see the point of the rook c7. I mean, I can go knight c3. Then it takes there, and I haven't got that one in pedo. Bishop here. Bishop g5 might be the way to go. So I'm just doing it. I'm actually not sure why I can't just go bishop e7. He takes that, I take that. He has a check. He probably has another check, but after all I'm winning. Knight here also looks kind of funny. If he takes, he's made it. And I'm threatening the fork, but he can't even check me over there. But he can check me over there. Knight f6. Pawn takes. Knight here, forking the pieces without losing anything. Or just bishop e7. Takes. Then I have this, so yeah. He defends the rook, but I'm grabbing it. Now I'm up a full knight. That should probably be enough to win the game. Knight e7, completely paralyzing him. Rook f5 is the idea. He's completely boxed in. Not quite sure about rook f5, but I have a simple plan now. Simple and strong. 1 minute for that. Take this, take that. Don't really care about all this. Takes this, takes that, and then knight back. 1 minute 28 left. It should be kind of easy. Should really be kind of easy now. Grabbing this, I'm not sure why he did that, to get the G pawn, probably. Yes. This is still covered. How to get here? Or how to get there? King G7. How to defend the pawn with the knight. Anyway, I'm going there with knight here in mind. He has to go a3, I mean this is the only way. And now b2 to get rid of the other pawn. Yeah, b2. Now he gets rid of all my pawns on the king side, but I have this outside a pawn I can maybe use. He has no checks, no tricks. G5, why didn't he take that? Did I have something? I had that check. I'm not sure why he didn't take it. I go back, covering it. Now knight here, and that should be it. Yes, he takes it. Up a pawn and a knight, that's simple. Oh. Yeah, he resigns. He resigns. So next victory versus Shallow Blue. So just quickly go through that game. Just misclicked somehow. Bishop f3. Yeah, this was annoying. Rook c1 is kind of a nice move. Here bishop e3, bishop takes pawn take. Bishop g4, knight d5. Knight here, queen there, knight takes. Knight here, queen here, queen there. I'm not sure why he did that. Knight e5. No. He saved the queen and the knight now. So here I think he, in hindsight, he should have grabbed it. Sure what this is all about. Removing the difficulty. I give the check and I win the knight. So I have to versus a rook here. Went into that endgame, which is, I guess it's winning. Knight here, pawn here, bishop g5, bishop here. Knight f6 again could be pretty troublesome for him. Probably not, just taking the rook, enjoying the position. Just gave up the deep. Knight here went to e6, b2. I'm not sure why he didn't take the f pawn. I mean, it's again, it's still losing, but I'm not sure he didn't do that. I mean, I have a check. That's but he just goes to h7. What's the line here? I mean, Stockfish will give this as completely winning for me, because it is indeed pretty winning for me. Rook b8 checking, h7, knight e6, g5. He has no moves, right? So Stockfish gives mate in 17. Wow. Rook b8, king h7. knight e6. To go knight g4, and he cannot defend against knight g4. Knight g4 is also a fork, so yeah, okay, I spotted that one. g5, rook back, king here, knight e6, pawn takes, king takes. Now he just resigned. Yes. Just shortly go through that. Queen d3, knight d3, bishop here also playable, e5, knight b3, a4, bishop e3, d6, knight c3, knight b5, castles, queen d2, bishop g4 and f3, rook d1. I played actually without any mistakes. Rook a1 even best move. Queen a6, knight b5. I went here, and now he's better with bishop h4. What? Bishop h4. Yeah, but then I have g3, right? Bishop d8. Not sure if black is better here. According to Stockfish, black is better. He took him b3 and play bishop there now. Bishop e3 back. Knight here is still good. Knight d3, queen g3. Knight takes is bad. Queen g5, knight e2, queen f2 or queen f1. It doesn't really matter. And knight c2, rook d2 and takes. Yeah, and from here on it's pretty winning for me. Also the end game. Yeah, I completely crushed him actually. Yeah, and here he resigned. Yeah, but only Stockfish can come up with yeah, this is bad for him. Only Stockfish can come up with bishop h4. This was the only point he could have done something here. Yeah, this was the turning point. Cannot take the knight here. But bishop h4? e8. Okay, I have to grab the bishop. Rook f8. And now I have to go rook d2 apparently. Or f4. I don't think I'm that much worse here. You can execute d5 now. Yeah, that's true, and if you get 5 Sicilian, you're probably worse. So, this was something, and this little h4 g3 weakens my king in position. I just wanna see if he goes bishop d8. This move I missed, the only move I missed. Now it's even, so he should go bishop h4 first, baiting the g-pawn forward. That's interesting. So where was my mistake? Still knight g5, bishop here, f3, bishop back, knight d5, rook here. Queen f2 apparently wasn't that great. Should have gone knight c1, slowly rerouting everything. Yeah, this is even. Yeah, it was worse a bit, but after he took my knight, it was kind of a one-man show. The end game was also nothing. I just completely destroyed him. This knight f6 here. Bishop b7 is just immediately winning. Okay, we see each other at the analysis. See you later, ciao. So, welcome to the analysis of that game. I opened with e4. We had move c5 here, so the Sicilian defense, and after e6, d4 takes a6, we have the Khan Sicilian. I played bishop e2, knight c3 was also possible, probably other moves as well. Knight f6, queen c7 as well, and other moves, bishop f3. This is not the usual response of defending the pawn, but I kind of didn't want it to face bishop b4, pinning the knight and stuff like this. Therefore I went with bishop f3. It's still playable. He went e5. Queen c7, and the position would be even with chances for both sides. Example line goes like this: bishop e3, bishop e7, castles, knight c6, knight takes, d takes, c4, c5, and stuff like this. And as you see there, it's equal according to Stockfish, the latest development version 030721. But yeah, as I said before, chances for both sides. But after bishop f3 we had e5, also chances for both sides, but white has a slight edge here already. Knight b3, a5. This is a novelty. Before it was there were other moves played, like queen c7 maybe. I don't know, don't want to look it up. I just wrote in my notations that this is a novelty, and the idea is to go a4 to dislodge the knight and maybe go with bishop c5 later. So I went a4 and he went knight a6, trying to go knight c5 or bishop c5, probably knight c5. I played bishop e3, developing and playing against his idea. d6, knight c3, and knight b4. The idea, I wasn't really happy with knight c3. It's not a mistake or anything, but I thought castles is better after I played knight c3, because if knight c3, I wanted to have c3 kicking the knight, but anyway, knight d2 to c4 was also something I thought about. But okay, I played knight c3 and he immediately went knight b4. I castled and bishop e7, and now I play queen d2. The position is objectively equal again, with chances for both sides now. Knight b5, castles, d5 I feared, but after the engine, after Stockfish showed +6, I immediately spotted that ed5, knight d5, bishop d5, knight d5 isn't working because of queen takes d5 and queen takes d5, knight c7, the fork, the family royal fork, and white would have an extra piece after all. So after knight b5 should have castled, and then c3 kicking the knight, knight a6 and queen e2, and I stopped d5, and I have a beautiful knight over there. And now pawn takes, knight takes, and rook the knight, and c4 is can't be avoided afterwards. So that's why this should have been considered by myself, but yeah, white stands a bit better here. But okay, I played queen d2 and knight g4 goes after one of my bishops. I gave him the light square bishop. Bishop takes, preventing any rook coming to the d file, but I want to go rook f d1, so that's why I played f3, also creating some room for my king. Bishop e6 and rook f d1. And after castles I played queen f2, going after the b6 square, which is the only mistake I made in that game. The position before queen f2 is evenish, probably with some more chances for white. At least Stockfish won the game with white against Laser 1.2, and with black they only drew in the rapid game. I have let them play on my laptop. I just show you how it started, and I'll show you the game till Laser 1.2 was starting to get in trouble. And it started with knight c1, rerouting the knight, and rook a6. f5 was another way, probably a bit better. Yeah, now, yeah, the position is of course double-edged and chances for both sides, but objectively speaking it should be equalish here. Also after rook a6 it's equalish, but white has now a little bit more to hope for here. Knight b5, queen c8, c3 kicking the knight, knight c6 and b3 and f5. Now again it's double-edged, probably a bit more chances for white with good play. d5 should have been considered, the position is kinda equal, maybe a slight edge to white here, but the position is very rich and black also has some winning chances here. But okay, f5, we have c4 and now f takes e4, this is now too much. h5 should have been considered and white would only have a slight edge here. Anyway, a slighter edge than what happened after fe4. And after fe4 here, I want to stop this. Yeah, white stands better here. Also, if visually white just stands better here. If a weak d6 pawn, which probably bites the dust soon, the knight can come either, not that arrow, can either come like this to f5 or like this to d5. Not that arrow. The yellow way or the red way, probably the yellow ways. And we're talking about this pawn is hanging. The rook on a6 is kind of weirdly placed. Okay, you have the open f file. The queen on c8 isn't that bad. The bishop is also not that bad. This bishop is very important to cover the pawn. Currently you probably cannot take it immediately because of rook d8, but I would prefer white here, and also Stockfish, the computer, prefers white here. The game continued for a couple of more moves anyway, and white went on to win it. And with black and the position knight c1, so like this, Stockfish managed to draw the game. So probably after knight c1 white has some more winning chances, but I guess with perfect play it should be a draw, but the position is very rich of course. But okay, I played queen f2, going after the b6 square. He played queen c8, rook ac1. It's the top engine moves, at least according to Stockfish. It covers the c-pawn twice, and it means that the knight on c3 can move. We have queen c6 and now bishop b6, and here bishop takes b3, removing one of the attackers of the a5 pawn. But there was a different way of defending the pawn, a better way in fact, because after bishop b3 I get the advantage back. There were two moves in that position here. In that one, either bishop d8 immediately or bishop h4 followed up with bishop d8 just to provoke g3. So what do you think is better? You can pause the video here and think about it. Yeah, I would probably go bishop d8. I didn't see either of those moves. I just saw bishop takes knight. That's why I went for bishop b6 and queen f2 in the first place. But if I have seen this, I wouldn't have gone queen f2 maybe. But anyway, for me it was a rapid game. For Shallow Blue 2.00 it was a blitz game. I had 17 minutes with 13 seconds I guess, and he had 5 plus 5 kinda. Anyway, the better move here is bishop h4 provoking g3, and now I just show you something. This, yeah, I mean, what else is white doing here? Black's position is very fine. The a5 pawn is now superbly covered, and the d6 pawn is ready to go to d5 at some point. And yeah, this is all pretty nice. Yeah, now here you got this d5, and it's probably not even the best move black has, but it's enough to get probably a winning advantage. For example, e5, rook ac8, h4, which is kind of a mistake. Okay, you're trying to go g5, open up the position on the king side, try and attack there. But rook takes c3, pawn c3, and bishop takes d5. Now white has to give back the rook, and after knight takes this, knight is coming to f4, and it will be pretty bad. Rook g1, really trying to go g5, knight f4, g5, hg, hg, pawn g, and now, for example, you cannot grab this pawn. Now you just lost a pawn, because if rook g5, then queen h6 picks up the rook. So therefore this is pretty hard to play, this whole position here. f4, f6, f5, bishop c4, queen g2, and after d5, a couple of moves later, well, after d5 and ed5, rook ac8, h4. After rook ac8 there are basically no real moves for white anymore, and yeah, this is what I wanted to show you here. The other way of going about this, instead of bishop h4, bishop d8, is bishop d8 immediately, but it's not that accurate. It's now probably again a pretty evenish position. Bishop takes, rook takes, this is the same, but now you don't have that much problems with your king and with other stuff. Black got in this d5 move and is completely fine here, of course, but white is also fine. Chances for both sides here, but okay. This were two lines, but bishop b3, this is the thing I saw, and that's why I went for queen f2 and bishop b6. Takes. Now he lost this valuable bishop, and this was controlling the d5 square. Now he has severe problems of executing d5. In fact, it will never be possible in that game. I played bishop g5. It's not the most. He played bishop g5. It's not the most accurate way. Rook fc8 and bishop e3, queen there, going out of the way of the knight, was black's best bet and best hope for trying to hold the position. But yeah, it's not winning just now for white, but white stands really a bit better here. But we have bishop g5 attacking the rook. I played knight d5 immediately, which gives me an edge, but bishop e3 was more precise. Bishop e3, queen e3, rook a6, knight d5 attacking the queen, and now knight takes d5 counter-attacking my queen. Queen e8, knight c7 would win me the game immediately, so therefore knight takes d5, counter-attacking, rook takes, queen d7, bishop rook c4, rook b8, queen d2, and queen d8. And objectively speaking, this is very, very bad for black. I mean, just look at the position. Black is attacking nothing in white's position, and white is attacking the d6 pawn and the a5 pawn, and yeah, has a space advantage all over the place. And positionally speaking, this is close to winning, if not winning, for white. But okay, I played knight d5. It's also not bad, but I saw that I didn't see knight d3. It's not a problem. I have queen g3 counter-attacking, and after knight c1 he's lost. I also thought, yeah, knight c1 and stuff, but I thought I got two pieces and some attacking chances. I'm probably much better, and in fact after knight takes c1 I am much better. Bishop c1 is of course not working because of the fork. Now black is losing the queen for yeah, not much. Queen c1 was the only way of getting a playable or kind of playable position here, giving the queen up that way. The line goes like this: bishop d4, knight here, knight takes, and knight d6. White stands better, but black can probably hold this. Black has 2 rooks against the queen and a beautifully placed knight on d4. White also has a good knight and of course the queen and also an extra pawn, therefore it's only white who can play for a win here, but as I wrote, black can probably hold. Yeah, but knight c1, and after this the program Shallow Blue 2.0.0 will not recover. I play queen g5, of course, because taking a piece, and now knight here because the knight was hanging, and now queen c2 defending the knight, but fortunately for me I had rook d2 attacking the queen and also the knight, and there is no way of saving the knight now. I didn't see this before. After knight takes c1, I didn't see knight e2 check. Anyway, it was a rapid game and I was low on time here, I guess. But yeah, after black losing this knight, it's pretty terrible. Yeah, my king is on e2, but there is only the queen which can attack it, so it's not a problem. f6, queen g4. And sometimes I have queen e6 check or queen e6 for nothing, so queen a4. Now black even has 2 pawns for the pieces, but it's not enough. Bishop e3, king h8, king f2, going out of this diagonal here, so there are no checks and tricks here for black. He went f5. It's a mistake, but nothing helps. Queen b3, queen e6, giving up the d6 pawn is best here, because if you defend it with rook fd8, then h4, and this is even worse because h5, queen c8, queen takes, rook takes, and we again have an end game, and black only has 1 pawn for the pieces, and this shouldn't be holdable for black. It's not only that white is kind of better in material a bit, but also, yeah, the d5 knight is just a monster. The d6 pawn is not so great. h4 is good. White's king is more active, so there are a lot of stuff working in white's favor here. And if you, for example, don't go rook fd8 and cover it, for example, you go a4. No, wait, where was I? Queen e6 attacking the pawn. If you go rook fc8 here, you lose the pawn and it's bad. So where were my lines here? a4. Yeah, let's continue from there. h5, h6. Bishop h6, and if you have to go rook g8, you're lost. And pawn takes is a forced checkmate now, and there is no sensible way of defending against this, so therefore black can resign. There's also queen c4 here, but h5 again, and yeah, we covered this already, sorry. So okay, let's just go back. It's not much left here. f5, I didn't see that move. I thought he's gonna go b5 or something, trying to do stuff on the queen side, maybe create the passer here with those 2 pawns then, but anyway, I thought I'm winning here or close to winning. And f5 I really missed, and it took a lot of time for me, or at least a lot of time for rapid game, to figure out that the end game is very good for me, and therefore I went for it. Knight b6 was also good, but ef5 with this end game is it's a winning endgame for white. Rook a6, king g3, just moving the king a bit. Rook c6, rook f2, also king g3 was going out of the f line, preparing rook f2 and stuff. Rook b8, this is bad, but b5 doesn't help black's position. Black would just struggle a bit more, a bit longer. Rook b8, g5, b5, f6. yeah, you cannot really grab this because then just taking, and it doesn't make any sense. So therefore b4, f7, threatening to promote, so rook f8 back, and now g6 with the nice point of hg6, knight e7, and there is now no defense against just grabbing this g6 pawn or the rook. Either the g6 pawn with check grabbing the f8 rook or this rook over there. So this is nothing now for black, so therefore he didn't touch the pawn, played b3, but it's not much better. Here the bishop is coming to e7 and there is not much black can do against it, so bishop e7, rook c8. If you take on d5, then taking the rook, and if you, for example, give some checks and push to the a pawn, trying to create a passer here, then there is a nice little trick here which ends the game on the spot. Bishop takes pawn with a check. There is only one move for black, is to take the bishop, and now f8 queen mate. Rook fc8 is also not working because I will get the rook with mate. So therefore he just went back, and now I'm just up a full piece, and from here on it's just nothing. h4, rook f3 would have been a quicker way of doing stuff, because here I can just do that, and if he queens the pawn, I queen my pawn or rook it anyway with mate. So hg6, but it doesn't help. Knight here, a1 queen, f8 queen check, king h7 only move, queen g8 check, king h6 only move, queen h8, king g5 only move, and queen h4 mate. So therefore he just went where was I? Yeah, rook f3 was a quicker way. I went h4, but it doesn't really matter. d5. Now the engine started to give away stuff. b3 takes, and he cannot even take the f7 pawn because rook here check, king there, knight here, and there is no way of defending against a knight g5 with a following mate, for example rook a7, knight g5, and rook h8 mate. So therefore he went g5, so he has an escape route for the king, but I just protected my pawn now. He went up with the king, I attacked the rook, he took the pawn, I took back, and he resigned. Being down, soon to be down a rook and a knight in the endgame. Stockfish also gives this as a forced mate in a couple of moves, but in the worst case you have a rook and a knight versus nothing with white, so therefore black just resigned. Okay, I hope it wasn't too long for you, so see you next time. Ciao.